And welcome back. You are watching Business Today right here on KTN News. And now we get to our conversation where we'll be talking about innovations in business. What is this that makes business grow? And some of the innovations that are there to make business grow. And joining us from my far left is Maureen Ochang, who is the President, Project Management Institute of Kenya. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, Alan Maturu, who is a Director for Education and Professional Development at PMI.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today to discuss this. So first of all, let us look at innovations in business. When we say innovations in business, what are we exactly talking about?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is business unusual, doing things differently. You're trying to add value to your organization, to your communities, to the spaces you serve by doing things differently, offering a different service, offering a different product, and just definitely improving the situation as is right now.
Yeah. Right, and Alan?
Yes, I believe how you can come across it and how you can express it is that you're trying to do things in a new way. You're trying to create value for your customers at the end of the day, but most importantly is how are you going to create value for your customers and make your customers happy by doing things in a new or different way, using new techniques and using different means that are basically unique.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And now, when you look at the techniques and the new ways that are there, just say to us, when it comes to what is it that someone can tap into in order for them to just stand out from the rest of the businesses and how other businesses are running, what can someone do differently?
I think to start off, a different mindset, thinking of things from a different way, making sure you're looking around the competition, you're checking around to make sure you're seeing the trendsetters so that you also fall in line. Don't wait to be left behind. Be the first one to come up with this new way of doing things. I think when you look back at anyone who's been disruptive in the business, who's come up with a new innovation, think about 98, where we came up with Google, for example, the search engine. It was the first of its kind. So you have to think about doing things differently and definitely being standing out, being different.
And Alan, in doing things differently, and for example, someone opens a small business of selling tomatoes on their side, and after maybe 1 month, another one comes on this other side of the road selling the same thing.
Yes.
Because we've seen this happen across where we live, and even in the cities. Shops are just following each other, but they're doing the same thing. So when it comes to how someone stands out, is the customer really involved in making sure that you are doing something different?
Very good question, and thank you very much for that question. At the end of the day, what you should focus is you should focus on the customer, because at the end of the day, you're trying to create a benefit for the customer. So when you're trying to be innovative and you focus on the goal, meaning you're creating value for the customer, then definitely that answers the question. Yes.
All right. And now let's also look at business management and how various businesses are run. Could it be that the mode of managing a business is the one that people usually miss? Because let us take, for example, a startup has started. They're dealing in different maybe products, and after 2 years they close shop, and you find that very many of the businesses, they don't pass their 3rd year from when they started. So could it be that the management is wrong? Maureen, let me just get from you, what could be the issue, especially when it comes to companies or businesses that don't go beyond 2 years?
I think from the very beginning, when you're coming up with a concept for your business, you need to be very clear on what your goals are. You need to be very resilient. I think that's the key word. The reason people don't go beyond the 2 years is they've passed through hardships and they just throw in the towel. You know, look around you. You definitely see if this is your passion, if this is what you believe is going to add value to your organization, you need to stay and stand through it. You know, make sure you stick through it. I think for people who've largely succeeded, one of the key differentiators has always been that they listen to their customers. and they also change with the trends, with what's happening in the market. So if you want your business to succeed, make sure you're looking around you, making sure you're staying competitive, making sure that you're listening to your customers and giving them what they want and what they need.
And still on that, Alan, let me bring you in and ask about the awareness. Could there be there's just some lack of awareness when it comes to how people manage their business, because someone quits their job, their daily job from 9 to 5, of course, and says, okay, I want to start a shoe business. So you've looked and said, okay, people need shoes, this is what I want to start. So could it be that there is some lack of awareness when it comes to what you need really to focus on? If it's shoes, this is how you need to go about it.
Yes, I believe it is a lack of awareness because, for example, if you want to sell shoes and probably you go to the coast, for instance, and it's during or you go to, let's say, Cape Town, for lack of a better word, and it's during the summer, and you take official shoes during the summer when most people are taking holidays, and you go and sell them, it means that you lack the awareness of the market. So in this case, if you look at it from that perspective, what you should have done is market research, looked at the customer. At this particular period of time, what do the customers need? They don't need winter shoes. They need open shoes probably. They need sandals probably. So looking at it from that perspective, I would say that yes, there's a lack of awareness and definitely a need for upskilling. Thank you.
And even as we look at what is supposed to be done, the institute is training people, especially when it comes to how to manage these particular businesses. So Maureen, just give us something little about that and the summit that is coming and how important this will be.
Okay. So the Project Management Institute Kenya is actually an affiliation of a wider global institution, the Project Management Institute. And we are the leading association of project practitioners, professionals, anyone who's in project management. So we are responsible for managing projects across construction, legal enterprises, corporate, public, private sectors. And what brings us together is the fact that we are all interested in making sure that we lead our teams in our projects to maximize success. Now, part of what we do, and part of our, I think, let me say our mission or our drive, whatever drives us right now, is that we're trying to make sure that project management is a national competence across Kenya. We're also trying to make sure that we are empowering our project managers so that they are leaders in the spaces that they serve, in the communities that they serve. So largely, the summit is around us trying to make sure that we are sharing through learning. We'll have quite a few symposiums that we'll also have there. We'll have thought leaders who are coming to talk to us around how we can empower our members, and I'll let Alan speak to more.
All right, Alan, and then now we move to another different thing.
Thank you very much. So with regards to the summit, what we have is, of course, the summit is going to be happening on the 9th of August, this year, of course, and it will be held at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Upper Hill. The summit will be a one-day event, and it will be a paid event. And feel free, of course, to look at our socials, that is at PMI Kenya, with regards to that summit. As a very able Madam President mentioned earlier, we'll be having various thought leaders during that event. And basically the benefit for that event will be basically for people to just learn and empower themselves, and at the end of the day, share. As we mentioned earlier, there's a lack of an awareness with regards to how you can innovate and create value for customers or create value in your workplace, assuming that you're working. Okay. So that event will have a myriad of thought leaders that you and I know of. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And now let's also look at other different countries and what they're doing when it comes to how they are managing their businesses and how they're managing startups. When you look at, of course, technology, Kenya is the hub of technology in East Africa, and we cannot deny that. But when you look at how tech startups are being handled, especially with growth, Alan, let me start with you. Sure. When you look at how tech startups are being handled, especially in terms of sustainability and making sure that they sustain themselves, what do you think?
Yes, so when we talk about sustainability, of course, we're talking about two different things, or it's even wider, but we're talking about going or being green, but also we're talking about the resilience of the business. So my thoughts are for you to be resilient or to sustain your business, especially from a financial perspective, for you to eventually break even, but you would probably need to understand the market, understand the customers. There are a myriad of reasons, but generally, at the end of the day, understand the customers, understand the market, understand your product, and of course, when you look at all those things, you're also looking at your price, the price of your product. And when you combine all these things together, and of course, looking at and factoring in on innovation and trying to leverage on what you can do so that you can improve your business and basically derive value, then when I look at it from that perspective, I see benefit not only to the country, but also to the rest of Africa in different ways, whether it's employment or just producing for the country and making your country to be more of a net exporter.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Maureen, let me just pick your mind a bit. When it comes to the developments in Kenya right now, the economy where it is at, and the businesses, of course, a couple of weeks we've seen very many businesses closed, especially on Tuesdays and Thursdays, a couple of weeks ago. Of course, this is an effect into business. So a person started their business in May, June came, demos every Tuesdays and Thursdays, but they want to stay afloat. They want to make sure that even after this, next year, they'll be looking at some profits coming in. So how do you make sure that you sustain your business, especially through this difficult time?
I believe that even without the demos on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're living in a very volatile, uncertain, ever-changing environment. So that's not going to change. So anytime you're running your business, you need to make sure that you're coming up with risk scenarios, thinking about if the worst happens, how do I sustain myself? So I think it's around planning, around making sure that you're taking time to sit back, reflect, look at how you can improve, look at how you can make an extra buck. I think about when COVID happened and institutions that were serving food, they thought on their feet and they came up with delivering food at home. So that's what it means. And that's what I said at the very beginning, that innovation requires you to change your mindset. That's what it is, just thinking of things unusually. You can't do things the same way and expect to succeed. Yeah.
And Alan, of course, when she talks about doing things differently, let us look at the digital platforms and try and see how shops are doing on the digital platforms. And can these days where we are, and this generation where we are, where everything is digital, someone starts a shop on digital, can they sustain that shop and say, okay, I'm not going to have a physical place, I'm just going to deal with the digital platform, and that is how I'm going to do it?
Yes.
Give us your perspective on that.
So for starters, my perspective is when you're starting a business, you try to minimize your operational costs. So already you're starting at an advantage whenever you go digital. So in terms of sustainability of sustaining such a business, it is possible, because as long as you're aware, especially, because assuming you have a digital platform, right, even a website, a simple website, leave alone the other pre-made platforms that we have, we know today that you can, of course, optimize the searches of your business. For example, if I'm running a shop online that is selling suits, I can probably make sure that anyone who searches the word suits is directed to my page, and they're able to basically come and shop. And that's what sustainability is if you look at it in the back end. Thank you.
Right. And now, as he has mentioned, the search engine and making sure that at least people come to your digital platform or your digital shop, how do you make sure that at the end of the day, this is sustained, and you make sure that at least at the end of the day also, you are doing what is expected of you as a business on the digital platform? Maureen, so can someone run their online shop as they run their physical one? Can you make sure that at least your online shop has the traffic that it has? If it was in the CBD, people just pass there and they see something. How do you make sure that at least there is traffic, excluding what he has said about the search engine?
Absolutely. I think when you asked that question, I thought about Amazon, I thought about Jumia, I thought about Zuri. Those are shops that are mostly, predominantly in our digital space. I think it's more around ensuring that you're giving your customers exactly what they want, and you're giving them a myriad of services and really, really excellent experience. Because one good word from one customer is enough for you to get, I believe that the statistics say 10 other customers. Mm-hmm. So that will make you be able to sustain your business. And at the same time, ensuring that you've hired qualified and competent people. I think the business is made by the people. And that's something that sometimes we take for granted. If you're treating your people right, if you've had the right qualified staff, they will definitely make sure that people are getting the right service and people will come back to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Lastly, even as we come to the end of this particular conversation, what is the future of business, especially the innovations that we have? What are we looking at in terms of growth going forward? Alan, let me start with you.
Good. The future is very big, and how I look at it is the utilization of emerging technologies to basically just optimize your business, minimize operational costs, and of course, serve your customer and make your customer happy. At the end of the day, making your customer happy is very important.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that. Maureen?
I want to chime in and bring in our profession as project managers. I think whenever you're starting your enterprise or whenever you're running your organization, you need to have this one person whose sole responsibility is to make sure they're bringing all the pieces together. And that's the role of a project manager. Mm-hmm. So you have your expert who is good in finances, you have your expert in IT, you have your expert who is running the operations of the organization. You need this one individual whose constant focus is to make sure that we're delivering everything within budget, we're delivering everything within the timeline that we promised, we're delivering on quality, we're delivering on risks, and most importantly, that we are satisfying our customers. Mm-hmm. And that's where we come in as project managers.
Thank you so much for joining us, Maureen Ochang, who is the President, Project Management Institute of Kenya, and Alan Maturu, who is the Director for Education and Professional Development, for sharing with us also your expertise. And we've known the customer is the most important person when it comes to sustaining your business. All right, we've come to the end of this particular edition of Business Today. Stick around. Be Your KTN is coming up next.